Ted Gonder is joining me this morning, and Ted is the CEO and co-founder of an organization called Moneythink. And you do some very unique things with young people and financial literacy. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Moneythink is a nonprofit founded and headquartered here in Chicago, and what we focus on is bringing financial skills to low-income, inner-city young adults in Chicago and all over the country.
And you do this by a peer-to-peer kind of model, is that correct?
That's right. So we have a variety of ways of reaching these students. We work directly with partners, schools, other nonprofits to bring a blended learning model that combines high-technology digital tools with high-touch mentoring and relationships.
Now, thinking about some of the students, the targets of the people that you're talking to, you've got some ideas as far as how they should be doing things financially, not getting into debt, not thinking about college, things like that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things that has been highlighted in the years since the economic crisis of 07-08 is that all too often the zip code that you're born into determines your destiny. And for many of our students, college or some kind of post-secondary experience after high school is one of the best ways to break out of a cycle of poverty or lack of privilege. And so one of the things that we really focus on is helping students to not only afford college, but develop the financial skills and habits to make it all the way through so that they don't have to drop out due to financial stress while they're in college on their own for the first time.
So some of the specific techniques and things that you teach students, tell us a little bit about how you advise them, what they can do to have some financial chops.
Yeah, so if you're a junior or a senior in high school, applying for as many scholarships as you possibly can, applying for the FAFSA, federal grant money, federal aid, being really careful about which loans you take out, but understanding that loans are a viable option to help you bridge the gap so that you can afford college, and then not being too optimistic about how much you can afford to work, because the more you work, the more pressure you put on yourself to keep your grades up, and sometimes if your grades aren't high enough, you might lose your scholarships. So those are some of the basics in terms of affording college, and then just on a day-to-day cash flow management perspective, making sure you keep an emergency savings buffer so that if you have a car breakdown or your mom needs help or something happens, you don't have to dip into tuition money and endanger your education. And once you've got the basics covered, then it's time to start thinking about investing. Then it's time to start thinking about how do I go past the 0.1% interest I earn on my savings account and start earning.
Thinking about that 1/10 of 1%,
yeah.
What kinds of models and what kind of mechanisms do you use for students to see what they could do to get better returns?
Well, a lot of it is just scenario planning, thinking about what major are you choosing in college and what kind of career options are viable as a result of that major, and what are the average earnings of those different career options. Because if you end up in a position where the second you graduate from college, you're having to pay 40% of your income out to pay off your student loans, but you were a dance major, that's not necessarily an advantageous position to start your career off in. That's not a place in your life where you're going to be able to amass the capital necessary to start making bigger investments in the stock market, in startups, in whatever you think is your investment of choice.
One final question, talking about startups, do you have some students that come to you as like budding entrepreneurs?
Yeah, a lot of our students have big entrepreneurial dreams. They look up to celebrities like Jay-Z or A-Rod, who have built successful businesses in addition to being celebrities or athletes. They look up to people like Mark Zuckerberg or all kinds of other entrepreneurs, and they think that they can do that as well. And we tell them you absolutely can, but the best way to put yourself in a position to pursue your dreams is to get the baseline covered and set up a strong emergency savings buffer and get a college degree or post-secondary degree so that you can enter the economy with advantages and skills that'll put you ahead.
So thinking about some easy investment vehicles that young people could get involved in, what would be some recommendations?
So I would say that if your tuition is covered and if you have an emergency savings buffer already, starting to think about picking a couple of stocks that you like, the brands that you're familiar with, companies that you feel passionate about because you use their product, that's a good place to start because you'll be motivated to pay attention to what's happening to those companies. You'll follow them in the news, and you'll be interested and motivated to get the proper timely information to make smart investment decisions. But you don't want to overinvest too soon, because if you put all your eggs in one basket before you're an experienced investor, that can lead to a lot of losses.
Well, that's sort of the Warren Buffett methodology, understanding what you're investing in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Ted, for joining us this morning.